Hello everyone, this is Redacted Soap, and before I start this video, I do want to give a bit of a disclaimer that I am reading off of a script. I like to script my videos, and I do kind of sound like a robot. This is, one of my first videos. I'm still getting used to talking in the mic, So I hope you can sit through that and enjoy. I've recorded this video. This is like my second or third time recording this entire video because each time I just feel like I sound blocky. And I'm tired of doing that, and I have a deadline. So yeah, I hope you can just enjoy this video as it is. In the future, I might do like a remaster of this video when I'm more comfortable talking and reading and stuff. So yeah, hope you enjoy. In the beginning, a species of ancient creatures called the Keepers created a device called the Summoning Key. The Summoning Key was used to manipulate the ether. The ether is the fabric of reality itself. The Keepers used the Summoning Key to create Agartha, a completely new realm outside of time and space and every known and unknown universe. Agartha is the physical manifestation of the ether. A Keeper known as the First One would create and plant seeds for other dimensions and new life with the help of the Summoning Key. Two of the Keepers would be known as Dr. Monty and the Shadow Man. These Keepers were best friends, and later, Monty would even describe the Shadow Man as sweet, charming, and funny. Just a side spiel, because I forgot to put this in my script, but the Keeper that was known as the First One ended up disappearing at some point, like towards the beginning of the timeline. We don't really know how, when, why, or anything. They just kind of disappeared, so yeah, that's all the information we have on that, really. It is unknown when, where, or even how, but the Keepers discovered a new realm, the Dark Ether. The Dark Ether acts as an opposite to Agartha, or also known as the Ether. Where Agartha is almost like heaven, the Dark Ether is like hell. A group of Keepers experimented on the Dark Ether, but this led to the corruption of these Keepers, one of which being the Shadow Man. The corrupted Keepers, or also known as Cursed Keepers, would create the Ether Pyramid, later known as the MPD, which can allow them to hold the power over reality itself. Dr. Monty would try to save his friend from corruption, leading himself to being corrupted. The Keepers would go into war with the Cursed Keepers, known as the War of Agartha. Dr. Monty would lead the Keepers, and the Shadow Man would lead the Cursed Keepers. Eventually, the Keepers won the war and banished the Cursed Keepers to the Dark Ether. Before their banishment, however, the Cursed Keepers hid the Ether Pyramid on Earth's moon. The Keepers were deemed as the guardians of all reality against their former brethren. Now, I know you have some questions, because if Dr. Monty was also corrupted by the Dark Ether, then why is he fighting the Shadow Man who was corrupted by the Dark Ether? And the Shadow Man is leading a whole army of Keepers that have been corrupted by the Dark Ether, so why is Dr. Monty opposed to them? Why is he an op to them, Long story short, we don't know. This was all like rushed writing and crammed in, so we don't really know that dynamic. I mean, if you guys know something in the comments section, then feel free to leave it down there. I have no clue what this is, though. Like, I have no idea how Dr. Monty is also corrupt, but he's like still fighting the Shadow Man, even though the Shadow Man is also corrupt. Who knows? Through time, the Dark Ether would evolve the Cursed Keepers into a completely new species called the Apothicons. Some creatures that make up the Apothicons are Cursed Keepers, Margwas, Parasites, Insanity Elementals, and Furies. Cursed Keepers are Keepers that have fairly recently come into contact with the Dark Ether. A Margwa is a large beast with 3 heads, 4 tentacles, and tendrils littering their body. Their mouths act as weak points for the Margwa. Some Margwas have evolved even further into the Fire Margwa and the Void Margwa. Parasites are smaller creatures that fly and shoot some sort of acid or corrosive fluid. Insanity elementals are, for lack of a better term, big meatballs with multiple mouths all over their spherical body. Furies are almost like the cursed keepers grew arms and legs. They just kind of like crawl around all creepy crawly on the ground, you know. On January 15th of 1292, the Great War between humanity and the Apothicons began. Somehow the Apothicons started sending meteors of element 115 to Earth, as they knew there was a gateway to Agartha on the planet. We don't really... again, this is another, like, form of lazy writing. We don't know how they could teleport, like, how they could just, like, send meteors through a wormhole to Earth, but they couldn't, like, send themselves. Unknown. It is unknown. When the humans found element 115... and started messing with it, it released the Apothicons from the dark ether, unleashing chaos on the world. On April 14th of 1294, a knight by the name of Sir Pablo Marinus was being hunted by Margua. As the Margua was about to decimate the knight, 4 men vanquished the Margua with 4 elemental staves, being the Fire Staff, Ice Staff, Wind Staff, and Lightning Staff. These 4 men would be known as Primus. This is where the timeline splits into 2. In Timeline 1, we'll call this the Ultimus timeline. Sir Pablo Marinus doesn't record this event or any of the war, leaving it lost to history. Technically, this is the timeline we would live in, or this is one of the timelines we would live in, where the Great War just wasn't recorded. It's not like a thing to us. We don't know that it happened. However, in Timeline 2, we'll just call this the Primus timeline. Sir Pablo Marinus does record the Great War, but for now we'll stick to the Ultimus timeline. Humanity, the Keepers of Agartha, and the 4 men known as Primus would defeat the Apothicons, sending them back to the Dark Ether on December 31st of 1299. The next day, Primus tells the Wolf King, a veteran of the Great War, to construct a castle before Primus seemingly disappears. No one knows the truth of what happened to the 4 men, but what most likely happened is they died sometime after this event. 18 years later, the Wolf King would die, and his servant, Arthur, would fulfill the Wolf King's dying wish, which was scattering and burying his bones around the castle, known as Der Eisendrache. Der Eisendrache? Der Eisendrache? Yeah, I'm just gonna call it Der Eisendrache. I know that there's an actual pronunciation for it, but, like, I'm just a quirked up white boy, okay? I'm an American, I don't care. The next day, Arthur disappears, transported through space and time due to a temporal rift. Flash forward a few centuries, the year is 1885 in Purgatory Point, an old mining town in the Wild West of North America. A blacksmith, Jebediah Brown, or Old Jeb Brown the blacksmith, would be contacted by the Keepers and record his encounters. It all started with a miner named Clive Farnsworth. He went down into the mines, and when he came out, he was rotting, feral, undead. He shambled his way through the town and found Jebediah's mom. Clive attacked her, ripping her throat out and killing her. The neighbor rushed outside and killed Clive. Determined to find out why Clive turned feral, Jebediah went searching in the mines for answers. Jebediah, in the mines, finds a glowing blue rock and is mesmerized by it. This glowing blue rock is what we would know as Element 115 or Divinium. After only being in the mines for what felt like a few hours, Jebediah exits the mines, only to find out he had been missing for days. Later, Jebediah would be visited late at night by 2 Keepers. This was still one of the first times the Keepers have ever interacted with mankind since the Great War, so they decided to test out how loyal the humans were. For this, they instructed Jebediah to build a machine for upgrading weapons. The Keepers told Jebediah that they would guide his hands. Jebediah agreed, and the weapons upgrade machine was built. He would name it the Pack-a-Punch machine, and it would become the talk of the town. The Keepers would visit Jebediah again and tell him to construct the Agarthan device. In order to do this, Jebediah would need 3 things: the blood of a dead apothecon at the bottom of the ocean, the elemental shard, which is a piece of element 115 rock that has souls bonded to it, Don't ask how you bind souls to a rock. It's never explained. But yeah, you're just supposed to kind of, take it and work with it. So yeah, souls bonded to a rock. And then 3, a metal vessel to contain it all. Jebediah told the keepers that he couldn't get the blood for he would drown, and he had no means of bonding souls to a rock. However, he could create the vessel as he is a blacksmith. After the vessel was crafted, Jebediah inserted it in the Pack-a-Punch machine, upgrading it. Later one night, Jebediah would drink his sorrows away, leading him to dig up his mother's body and insert it into the Pack-a-Punch machine, hoping it would revive her. Instead of bringing her back to life, her body disappeared. But upon returning home, Jebediah began to see a young apparition of his mother around the house. This happiness was short-lived, however, as the town would soon turn into chaos. Due to prolonged exposure to Element 115, everyone in the town turned into zombies, including Jebediah. That's going to wrap it up for the first part. In the next part, I'm going to be going over Group 935. But I do want to just thank you if you got to the end of this video. Like I said at the beginning, I know I sound blocky. I know I sound robotic. I'm still getting used to reading off a script. This is only like my 3rd video on this channel, I think. So I'm still trying to get used to stuff. This is only the 2nd video I have scripted. My last video I didn't script, I just went on a ramble. So yeah, I'm still kind of nervous about everything and getting into my groove. In a year from now, I'll probably do a remaster of this video where I reread everything when I'm more comfortable reading off of a script, and presenting it to you guys. I don't know why I'm doing this at the end of this video, but bit of a channel update. I'm trying to post more consistently on this channel. I want to get, more of an audience. So I'm gonna try and post. Okay, I'm not gonna try. I'm going to be posting weekly. Each week there's gonna be a video for you guys. Next week, I'm not gonna do a part 2 to this video. I'm gonna try and keep this series like bi-weekly. Just so like this isn't like the only thing I'm doing for like 5 months or so. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for part 1.